Early Earth was a bizarre alien place, with many of its life forms seeming like Lovecraftian mockeries of our own contemporary Earth. Entire arms of the phylogenetic tree have been cut short of breaching through the Anthropocene layer, many of them consisting of some of the most head-scratching creatures you might think possible. The early ocean, however, is an even more unsettling place still. The modern ocean is a bastion of absolute Frankenstein nopeness, so the early ocean must have been quite the sight to see. It would have been like an upside-down mirror dimension of land-dwelling life, but freed from the sedimentary forces of gravity which would condense them into reasonable shapes and sane organization. Unconstrained and set loose by marine buoyancy, they were able to morph into a wide array of weirdness. Opabinia is an example of one such alien ocean-dwelling early creature. Its initial discovery in 1975 was met by astoundment as paleontologists struggled to match its truly bizarre morphology to anything they were familiar with. It was proposed to be a nominate organism representing a phylum as yet undiscovered by science, or perhaps a distant relative of a lineage which had separated from arthropods long ago. However, sense was later made of the madness and Opabinia was classified as an arthropod. After the discovery of Opabinia, multitudes more specimens similar to it were also found, which began to demystify its phylogenetic position and explain some of its more fantastical traits. These traits include 5 pronounced individual eyes protruding from the front of its front, I don't know if you'd necessarily call it a head, an adaptation to living directly on the seafloor, which admittedly isn't that strange, but just makes the fact that it needed 5 eyes even stranger, a long, flexible, extended tube which protruded out from underneath its eyes, functioning as an extended multi-directional mouth, similar to an anteater's snout, allowing it to vacuum up minuscule prey it favored. It also had an arrangement of flap-like appendages protruding out from the main procession of segments that constituted its trunk. And to top it all off, it was quite a tiny creature, with estimates of its total size varying from between 4 and 7 centimeters long. Modern renditions of it make it look like it belonged on box art for the game Spore. When it comes down to discussing the evolutionary history of this creature, all bets are essentially off. Given that it lived over 500 million years ago in the Cambrian Period, and also that the fossil record which provides an insight into the phylogeny of Opabinia is so sparse, it makes it quite a challenge to draw any concrete conclusions about this creature that would be met with any kind of unanimous approval. Much scientific debate and speculation surrounds this creature, as so much of its former lifestyle and function is unclear. In the Cambrian Period, the profound degree of adaptive radiation taking place allowed for the spawning of many new ecological niches. This provided a lot of freedom for the newly emerging complex life forms to diversify themselves and to just give it an honest go, so to speak. Many of the life forms found amongst the wreckage that spawned from the Cambrian Period are odd to say the least. It was a time of evolution throwing things at the wall to see what stuck. As a result, you had many organisms that were an amalgamation of some truly strange traits. In fact, upon initial discovery of Opabinia, its existence was actually used by some experts of the time to justify the Cambrian explosion theory, implying that the suddenness of the development of new niches and an accompanying evolutionary rush to plug all of the ecological leaks with whatever evolution could find was ample explanation for the existence of this weird little thing. However, with ensuing discoveries and developments in the field of evolutionary biology, other explanations were better able to account for Opabinia's manifestation. There is some evidence, however, that even in the no-holds-barred conditions of the Cambrian Period, Opabinia's unorthodox southpaw face may have not been very successful. It finds an almost non-existent representation in the phylloped bed of the Burgess Shale, which is in itself a veritable hoard of fossilized wonders. Its relative scarcity amongst the fossil record also somewhat attests to this, although the possibility that science as of yet does not have a very accurate picture of the ecosphere of the Cambrian Deep should not be discounted. Ultimately, the weird and wonderful traits of Opabinia and some of its phylogenetic adjacents were selected out of the global gene pool. Regardless, their existence and subsequent extinction reveal much about the history of life and about the sharp, steel-tipped pruning knife of the evolutionary process.